Hello everybody, welcome back. Wow, it has been a while since I last talked to you guys, but anyway, I thought I'd pull out the old voice off the shelf, dust it off for this one. It's a special occasion after all, so why not? So hi to all the newer people that have yet to hear my voice. It's been a while since I've let my voice be heard on here, so this is me, you can call me Buddy.
I'm a strange guy.
And this is StrangeVoodooTV. I'm the one that edits all the highlights for you and does whatever I do, so I appreciate you jumping on board and being here with me today. Nice to meet you, and I hope all of you are doing well. Man, it feels kind of nice to do an intro again, I'll tell you. Anyway, I do have some great news for all of you, but with that, I also have some bad news. But for some of you, the bad news will also be good news, so there's that. It's complicated. But yeah, I wish my first time talking to you guys in a while that I could give all of you only good news, but it is what it is, and so is life. However, there are many silver linings though, so even with the bad news, the good news is aplenty. Now, I know you're all interested in hearing the news, and as has been custom in my life, I'll start with the bad news first. First off, to be honest with you, as might become evident, I had a completely different video planned to post today. Well, for the other day, and now today. Since I've had to make a different video than planned, I'm now a few days behind, having had to now make this. And now, so is my brain. I am fried. But that's kind of why I've been on a mini hiatus from posting the highlights. So please bear with me here. I wasn't quite prepared to have to make this video. This is very last minute and quickly put together. I haven't had quite enough time to figure out exactly what I want to say, nor enough sleep to make up for not knowing what to say. But I'll start by sharing some context, because I think we could all use some. Well, I've been working on and spending far too long the past couple weeks on a video and related stuff that I'm very happy how it turned out. Just finished the video last night, which would be...
What day is this?
Thursday night, the 28th, if you're wondering for whatever reason. But the thing is, I won't ever be able to post it in its entirety. And to quote the legendary Steve Mariucci, bummer.
The Giants should have gotten the ball back with another attempt to try and get that game-winning field goal, and your response was what again, Steve?
Bummer. I mean, what do you, I mean...
It truly is, though. I had some great jokes and things in there, great references, I had some great info, and I had an exhausting emphasis on that amount of fun producing it, creating it, making it, but unfortunately it's destined for the burn pile. Which kind of sucks, because instead of getting to be able to hop on here for the first time in forever and share just some great news and some jokes and things with you guys, I instead have to make a video explaining a bummer of a situation that isn't all too fun. And then on top of that, being physically, mentally, and morally tired, but you know what? It's all good. It's all good. I do know that much. There are some salvageable parts from it, so that's cool. I'll take what I can get. Life has a funny way to teach you lessons and close or open different doors quickly, and at times you don't necessarily expect it. And although we may not like it, ultimately it's for the best to go through it and see what's on the other side waiting for you. And as long as we understand what it's trying to teach us in the process, then it'll all be worth it. And I can respect that. And for me, I believe the meaning has been understood. The lesson has been learned. It was definitely an edifying experience for sure. It's just that I find it frustrating that I'm coming from the perspective of knowing the whole situation as it stands and not being able to fully communicate it to all of you, especially as positively as I want to. That and the fact that I wasted as much MASH, Columbo, South Park, Toy Story, Pat McAfee, NFL Street, and the Big Lebowski references and jokes on something as I did. But maybe I'll try to squeeze some of them in here. I probably already have, knowing me.
Are we gonna stand for this? We're gonna let them do this to us? No, I say, no!
And maybe I can steal a little bit from that video to enhance this one. We'll see how it goes when I'm editing. But like I said before, not all is lost, and there are some massive positives that have come from this, and I can't wait to share with all of you what they are in just a minute. But before I do, I'm sure you're all wondering what this video was all about. I keep going on and on about this video being great and everything, but you have no clue what it is. And I just thought about that. Well, the video was going to be on how we got our first sponsor. Yeah, how about that? Which we almost did. And it was sharing everything about this new opportunity that we all have, and how I was so honored and how proud I was of all of us, which I am. I still am. I'm very proud of all of us. And ultimately, I was very happy to be able to tell you that we finally made the big time, and how we as a community had gotten such a huge blessing, which, by the way, thank you for all participating in the polling. To save time, here's the part of the other video where I talked about the polling. Take it away, me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was already here.
We got ourselves a sponsor. How about that? A round of applause, everyone, please. Thank you. How awesome is that? Except for the one person who voted, nah, I'm good on the polls. Which, by the way, thank you for that, both in the participation in the polling, as well as the great comments and advice I received, both on here and elsewhere where I posted. I definitely listened to your input, and I valued all of it, every single bit, even the jokes. Looking at you, Colt Cadaddy. But they were funny, and they were fun to read, and overall it was a very positive response, which I was grateful for. Not only that a majority voted yeah, but more so it was all tactful and looking out for my best interests and our best interests, no negativity, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad we've all fostered that type of community here, so thank you for that. Well, good news for the person who voted no, huh? But again, thank you for all of your input, your participation, your advice, your comments, your love, your support. It has been much appreciated and part of what has gotten me through this. But no, I really appreciate it. And on top of that, I do hope to include the community tab a little bit more in the near future. And again, here's me kind of talking about that just a little bit. But yeah, since testing out the community tab a little with that poll and seeing others around me use it a little bit more recently, I might see about using that a little bit more myself in the near future, both for some posts and maybe some more polls and fun things like that. I do have a few ideas rolling around the old noggin, so be on the lookout for that kind of content too, aside from the videos. So that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So, due to some business practice disagreements, as well as a service that, after using it myself, didn't quite make me feel comfortable in promoting for all of you to use, I have chosen, as of about an hour ago, to withdraw from the deal and respectfully turn down their very generous offer, not only for my interests and peace of mind, but I believe all of our interests as a community. I'm trying my best to be a very community first creator, as is what I believe in and find value in, among others. And in declining this offer, I believe I'm ultimately doing right by that, because I love and I appreciate all of you. And in fact, to share some more from the Scrap Project, I'll read you something that I was gonna have in my pinned comment and in the description of that video. With that being said, and the following will go for any sponsor of the channel, if you ever find either my support of a brand unsatisfactory and bad taste, or if there are any major grievances by any of you through one of my endorsements due to any company that I support, please let me know. I can't promise I can fix your situation, but I do promise to resolve it for the rest, if the cause is probable, of course. I vow that I will never choose monetary gain over the peace of this community. You guys are awesome, and I will not lose you over anything such as that. So yeah, there you go, and I mean every word of that. You guys do mean a lot to me, and I value you and your presence here in this community. So when we finally do get a sponsor, that belief will stay the same. I have standards and I have beliefs, but sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you don't have the best vantage point to see, back away and see the full picture. So I may need you guys to kind of help me stay on the right path regarding that. And I trust that you guys will do your absolute best, and I will try my best to do the same exact thing. Now, I won't say who it was, and if you do try to guess, I will neither confirm nor deny, probably won't comment at all, but I will tell you that it was a sponsorship opportunity from a prestigious and highly rated online sportsbook. Now, I have absolutely no problem with promoting a sports book or sports gambling as long as it's a fair and honest betting site, because personally and transparently, I have made bets with online sports books before, and with that I think I've accrued valuable knowledge that might be able to help some people and their experiences with those types of websites, which there are a few different types. So I see it as a good opportunity, if I were to be sponsored by a sports book, to help the people who are thinking of or are already gambling, because it can include some risky business and some terms and things people don't fully understand. So, because as I see it, any way I can positively affect someone's life, I want to try my best to do just that. So, in saying all of that, I do find something like that as a good opportunity to help others. So I'm okay with it. But I will say, this was not one that I had bet with before. It is one that I researched before. It is one that I looked at before as a potential option, but it's not one that I've actually went and used before they reached out to me. So in turn, I knew I had to dig a little deeper, do a little bit more research, make sure I was doing my absolute best due diligence that I could, and I went into the whole thing with an open mind, and there were points throughout the negotiations where I did have my doubts, especially near the beginning and of course at the at the end. But overall, I was impressed with a lot of things that they had going for them, and the answers to my tough questions weren't as cookie cutter as I expected them to be when I first asked them, so I did respect that. However, I was very underwhelmed by some of the other business practices, and although they gave me straightforward answers as to why they operate the way they do, which again, I did respect, I couldn't really find it in me to support some of it and then, turn around and ask you guys to experience it and support that as well. Because as my experience of testing their site as a consumer, which I did do, I made sure I went in and tested. I didn't bet or give them money, but I did go through their site and checked it out. And what I was experiencing didn't match up with expectation. What I found when maneuvering their site was a subpar and unintuitive layout comparative to my experiences on other online sports books. And that was discouraging on my part, especially in some small details where they didn't lie, but they kind of made me believe one thing, and when I went on their site and actually used it, it wasn't necessarily how I was expecting it to be. So that didn't sit right with me either. And I'll just tell you, there was a lot to do with rollovers that I didn't enjoy. I hate rollovers, and I don't believe in them as a method of doing business as pertaining to sports gambling. I think it ultimately harms the player base and therefore that site's potential, so I don't get why they're a thing, but I also do get why they're a thing because it helps protect their money anyway. Anyway, not a fan of those. I made sure that they knew that and they understood, and with that, I wasn't going to have any bonus or promotional codes because all of their bonus and promotional codes had rollovers attached to them, and I was not interested in that, and they understood that. But there were other things, like on the site from the consumer side, they didn't have the rollovers easily accessible or viewable anywhere on the account page, and I didn't really care for that. So I found myself trying my hardest to trim around the edges of a burned cake, making requests and suggestions to help better your experience, but in the end the cake was burned too far in for my liking, and I can't in good conscience promote something I either don't use myself or wouldn't feel comfortable using myself. Sort of a variation of the golden rule: do unto others as you would want done unto you, or treat others how you'd like to be treated, but instead endorse the products that you'd like endorsed to you, But nah, I did respect how they negotiated, and they do have wonderful people that I negotiated with. Very understanding, very patient, very positive. I had a lot of questions, and not all of them were positive questions. I had some extremely tough ones and some concerning reviews that I went and checked out online that weren't positive. And I asked them about it. I was very upfront. I let them know why I was asking it, and I asked it, and they gave me good answers, satisfactory answers. And I could tell that they were very knowledgeable in their line of work, and for the most part, it was great to talk with their executives and their reps. But in the end, after a couple weeks of a lot of back and forth, and a good amount of anxiety too, mostly on my part, I'm sure. Although I can't speak for the executives and reps that I was talking to, but I couldn't buy into what they wanted me to promote to you. I couldn't do it. Under no fault of the people I was communicating with, it's more so on a deeper company level, something that they have no control over. So I was more than happy to, thank them for their time and let them know that we as a community here we're moving on. On the bright side though, a good chunk of that video with a good bit of re-editing and re-recording can and might be used in the near future. Being that I was planning on promoting a sports book, I wanted to give you all of the resources I could to make your experience the best that it could be. So I made an entire video betting guide complete with education on the terminology, including rollovers, hey, to bring it back a little bit. If you're not sure what rollovers are and you want to, hopefully in a little bit, you'll be able to learn what they are from me and why I don't like them. If you don't, just go ahead and go out and search it on your own.
This one's on the...
But yeah, advice from experience, provided other resources, joked around. I even made a template for a weekly NFL schedule with betting lines and everything that I was going to post. On a weekly basis, I made like 3 or 4 custom promo templates. I made a betting financial guide and a spreadsheet where you can track all of your bets, and it fills out the totals and some of the other info automatically as you fill in some parts of it, mainly because I love making spreadsheets in general, but also to benefit you guys and your betting experience. And yeah, it was awesome. I put a lot into it, and I'd rather it not fully go to waste. So once I scrub all the promotions and everything from those resources, because I put them on everything. So yeah, once I can, I hope to upload that for all of you. And if you bet or are thinking about it, you can use that to maybe help you free of charge. And you can use that to bet wherever the fuck you want. Man, maybe that was a little too harsh.
I was such a turd today. I feel bad. Mike and everything and a turd today. I was such a turd today.
But yeah, you can use it to bet on whatever site you feel like. No specific one. Oh man, that felt good. I'm not gonna lie, that felt good. Anyway, all in all, it's just another brick in the wall. It's better to learn all of this now, and I'm happy to have had a crash course in this form of business. I've been lucky enough in my life to have actually done a good amount of business with others, higher ups, and a lot of various companies, organizations, corporations, things like that. Your boy's not an amateur at wheeling and dealing now. But I tell you, there's a whole different translation when it comes to endorsements and sponsorships, and probably gambling entities in general. But I tell you, whole different ball game going on in that field. So that's some really good news right there. This experience really has encouraged me to not only be a better me, but also to know what I'm looking for when doing this type of business and how to look for it, which I haven't really thought hard on before. I mean, it's always been in the back of my mind, but I wasn't really imagining getting sponsorship opportunities at this stage.
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
So I hadn't put as much thought into it as I needed, and in my mind it was always something that would happen, but further down the line. So I do really appreciate them breaking the ice and inadvertently teaching me valuable lessons that I can take into any other potential channel sponsors that come to us down the line, which is a possibility. Alright, now for the good stuff. The good news is this: I have new content for all of you, almost ready and coming to a screen near you very soon. In fact, you can actually view it right now as I speak if you want this preview of the new content or would just like to support the channel in general. Please feel free to go over and check it out on the Patreon. The new content is available to all paid tiers and will soon be available to all of you. And really quickly, here's me from a couple days talking to you about that too. So we'll see about that. But yes, I do have other content I'm cooking up on the old workshop. I'm super excited about that. Stay tuned. And if you want a little sneak peek, check out the Patreon at StrangeVoodooTV. Link is in the description down below. And I should already have a couple up with some more on the way. And as I start churning them out, I'll probably give some first looks to the Patreon supporters before I throw them out there for everybody. So if you're excited about it too and kind of want to see what I'm doing before everyone else does, head over there and it'll be available for all tiers. And it's a great way to support this channel and I'd really appreciate it. But as I always say, if you have it in your heart and your wallet, go ahead and feel free to support. But if you only have it in one or the other, no worries. Don't feel the need to. It's all good. But yeah, new content is on the way and I'm so super stoked to share that with you guys soon. So as far as the new content goes, I have a lot of ideas that over the past few weeks have come to fruition in response to the sponsorship, since as I was planning on not including any sponsorships on my highlights, which the company was actually very understanding about that, which I did appreciate. Very go with the flow in that regard, letting me pick and choose my spots with no real demands on where or how much to sponsor them or anything of that nature. But since I wasn't going to include them on the highlights, that forced me, thankfully, to bust my ass ass and get into the lab and cook up new content, which I've been meaning to for a while now. I've had the ideas, I just hadn't had the kick in the pants to kickstart those projects out of the early stages, aside from one which you can actually also see over on the Patreon. Put that out like a month and a half ago, but since the sponsorship opportunity came about, I've actually created a bunch of new content and have generously set myself up with the blueprints and the templates and the plans for a lot more to come, and even more than that. So that's very exciting. It also kind of rejuvenated my love and interest in the type of content that I used to make as far as the editing style is concerned, which I used a lot of to make that video. So I now have concepts about how I can maybe incorporate that a little bit more into all of this. And I'm thankful that a failed sponsorship opportunity at least bore some fruit in new content that should be coming out within the next week or two, give or take a week. All I gotta do now is go back and scrub all the promotions off of all the new content and rearrange it and retime it accordingly so I can post it. You know, just finding more and more stuff to add to the old to-do list. Well, I wasn't even sure. I'm still not completely sure whether or not I should post this video or just move on, post one of the new things, or, you know, just go silent until I have another highlight made. But really, I guess my thinking on it is that I personally needed some closure on it, and I think you guys deserve to know what's going on too. I mean, being a part of this community, I feel you guys should know and be a part of what's going on, and, you know, in some way, at least as much as you're comfortable being. And since this was such a major potential shift in our course, I believe it warranted your input, and you should know the outcome of that input, which you gave so generously in the polls. Thank you again. But have that rather than have me hide it from all of you. I mean, you should know that your voice was heard and how it was heard. Again, I did take into account the advice of all of you who gave it, and the outstandingly brilliant Brandon Perna of That's Good Sports. Go check him out and give him a sub if you haven't already. I reached out to him and he reached back out and gave me some valuable and worthwhile advice, and I greatly appreciate him for doing that. He didn't have to reach back out, but he did, and I was very thankful to hear what he had to say. But ultimately, all of you guys helped in making my final decision, and because of that, it was an easier turn down of their generous offer knowing that all of you have my back. Plus, I haven't done a State of the Union in a while, so it needed to happen. Nah, for real though, I just wanted you to know that I do care about all of you, and when you're here, you're respected. I want you all to be and feel safe and protected, as well as know that you're cherished in all that we do. I trust you, you trust me. I will do all in my power to maintain that mutual trust, and I'm not going to ever sacrifice that. If I fall short, I need you to let me know. As I told one of our best friends of the channel, Edward, I just want to make sure that we're all respectfully on the same page here. I'm a person of peace. I believe in the power of peace, and I believe in the potential of peace. All peace, physical peace, spiritual peace, mental peace, emotional peace. And as the great Neon Dion says about peace,
do not allow a family member, a friend, a co-worker, a man or woman, or a child to affect or infect your peace. My peace is everything to me.
Yeah, those were some great words. He was definitely speaking the language of truth while he was talking right there. But with that, I truly appreciate all of you for your patience, your encouragement, your support, the jokes and the enjoyment, your appreciation for the game and all the content that I create. Everything you guys bring to the table. You are all the best, and all of you give me peace. And may peace be with you in all that we do here. Because the ultimate truth of all of it is, even if I meant it as a joke as it pertains to a sponsorship opportunity, when I made mention of it earlier, I truly mean it when I say, folks, we've already made the big time. We've had the ultimate blessing of correspondence with the players, their family members, their teammates, their friends. We've gotten the love and support of valued fans, which is you guys. We've been featured on prominent websites and in prominent settings that are outside of the internet. And honestly, I think having a spot in the Kentucky Pro Football Hall of Fame is way more big time than getting a sponsor. I mean, don't get me wrong, both would be awesome, but I'd choose us and what we already have every time over a sponsor once it comes down to it. And whenever, and I mean whenever, I say we or us in relation to this channel, please know that I'm talking about you and me. Because hey, I'm just one dude that happens to have the luxury of a computer and access to the internet and therefore a YouTube channel. I'm just one on the very surface of it, insignificant person as it relates to the entirety of the internet and where the values are placed arbitrarily throughout it, you know. But you guys, you're all awesome, and every single one of you is what gives what we're doing here the meaning that it has. So in turn, we have built this thing, not just me. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I have done a lot of the groundwork, a lot of the legwork. But in all seriousness, if all of you weren't here after this much time, I probably wouldn't be here either. So thank you for being a part of this community, helping give all of this meaning, and with that, I am very proud of what we have. Thank you for all of that. So, as fun, irradious, and enriching as this experience was, understandably, business negotiations such as this can be mentally and morally tasking.
What are you writing?
Emotionally exhausted.
And morally bankrupt.
Business is business, as they say. And with that, I'm gonna take this next week to maybe actually sleep a little instead of pounding energy drinks and slapping myself to stay awake to finish a project.
Hey, you need to make better decisions in there.
I'm joking. But then again, probably not, now that I'm behind where I want to be content-wise. And, you know, with real-life responsibilities on top of all of it, you know how it goes, I'm sure. Brings me back to my college days. Good memories. But yeah, this week I'll get back into creating the highlights for you, putting together more of your awesome suggestions, which I've had sidelined for what will now be the longest time in around 3 years, I believe. And I'll also keep working on the upcoming content, which again, you can get a sneak peek of and share your valued input over on the Patreon. If you have it in both your wallet and your heart, it'd be much appreciated. If you only have it in one or the other, please don't trouble yourself. But yeah, we'll get back to rocking and rolling sponsor free for now. Well, I'm not sure that I've said all that I wanted to say, but I think I've said enough for the moment.
I've talked forever.
Especially for not knowing what to say at the start of this thing. I am tired in most every way a person can be, I think. But with that, I'm also happy in a lot more ways than I was. And it's been nice to get some of this off the chest and create some more room for hair to grow.
Now here's a root with some chest hair.
Like I don't have enough already. Anyway, in other words, life energy is low, but the spirits are up, so it's all good. And to end this wonderful State of the Union video on a positive note, which you should end all things on a positive note, I believe. So this is a great way to do it, in my opinion, to bring it around, give us full closure on this deal, close the book on it, and I'll close it with my past self's parting words, which ring just as true, if not truer, than when I said them a few days ago. I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon. This was fun. So stay tuned for awesomeness, and thank you, everybody. Alright, for the last time, please take it away, me from a few days ago. But yeah, with all of that being said, as I alluded to, you might be hearing my voice a little bit more here soon, so I better get it, start getting it warmed up, like the good old days where I just jabbered on a regular basis. So we'll see. As it is, I'm not really one for talking a whole lot, at least not online into a microphone. But hey, what are you gonna do, you know? But with all of this stuff coming about, us all growing as a great community, as well as a little bit of a want to for a while now, I have some new content that I have in the lab that may require me to use my voice, because I will not, and I mean I will not use them damn text-to-speech bots. I can promise you that. I'm never going to use one of those text-to-speech bots. With all of this, hopefully it'll get me more active on Twitter, Instagram too, maybe even TikTok, which I'm not overly excited to say, but hey, we gotta expand somehow. And with some of the things that I'm thinking about doing, it would fit well into that type of space. But yeah, at the very least, we're gonna keep these highlights rocking and rolling, and hopefully we can showroom floor some of these other projects pretty soon.
Yo, the Funky Fresh is back in the flesh with a vengeance, Holmes.
I really appreciate all of your support, whether you've been here since the very beginning or have recently hopped on board. It's been a really fun ride so far. I can't express my thanks to you guys enough. I really can't. Before I start talking your ear off even further, I don't even know how long I've been going for now. I'll just say this and end it the only way I know how, and in the best fashion possible. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, I'm Buddy Strange. This is Strange Voodoo TV. Keep it strange, everybody. I'll see you in the next one, and peace out.